Hello, YouTube! It's Hashira Elements. You can catch me streaming on Tuesday, Wednesdays evenings, Fridays evenings as well, and Sundays as well, right after church. Usually Sundays, we usually stream at 3 p.m. Central Time because I get off a little bit early from church. On the weekdays, and on the weekend, on Fridays, we usually stream at around 4 p.m. Central Time, Chicago time. Today's exciting, man, because we just got done annihilating the Glamoria raids, and I'm super grateful for God, man, for giving us the opportunity for us to continue doing these dominant raids. We're going to be streaming this Friday 4 p.m. Central Time, Chicago time, so make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys have any difficulties, we want to make your guys' life easier. This is going to be a handful raid. This is probably going to be the toughest raid we've ever had experience in our life. We've had these experiences with experimental experiences when it comes to 6-star raids. Annihilate is no freaking joke, man. Ghost Terra, which we're going to have a lot of, functionality, movement and some movement around this raid, which we're going to be able to knock this out, but it's really scary. I'm going to show you guys Annihilate steps. So first things foremost is a fighting ghost type Terra. It's most likely going to have the Defiant ability, which I'm really, really terrified. I love hard raids, and I've always, always put myself to the challenge. When it comes to Corviknight raids, when it comes to Annihilate raids, you should be definitely terrified. You should be absolutely horrendously terrified. This is a legitimately raid that you should legitimately be very terrified. However, though, we're going to make your lives easy, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get straight to it. So if it has the ability to Defiant, what does the Defiant do? I'll tell you guys a little bit so I can educate you guys a little bit from the abilities. It has Defiant raises the abilities barriers attacked by 2 stages, so we do not want to go in there with Intimidators, and we do not want to go in there lowering any stats. The only way to be able to beat this raid is if we skill swap it, take it out his ability, and give it an ability that's really irrelevant. So if we can skill swap its ability, then we're perfectly fine. Defiant is not going to be absolutely nothing, and we're going to be pretty much cruising through this raid. Also, if it has Vital Spirit, I'll tell you guys exactly what it is. Vital Spirit prevents the ability from barriers from falling asleep. This means it also prevents us to use the move Rest. So if you have the move Rest, you won't be able to use that. So fortunately, anything like Slack Offs and stuff like that, you're going to be actually irrelevant for this raid. But however, it is a very good goated ability. Now let me educate you guys a little bit on Inner Focus. What does Inner Focus do? It prevents the Pokemon from flinching, for example, when attacked by a move like Headbutt. So Inner Focus prevents Pokemon from flinching. For example, we didn't hit by a Headbutt, so you guys won't be able to flinch. So if it hits us with something like that, we won't be able to take any flinching damage, so we don't have to really worry about that. His stats are very scary though. You can see his HP's at 110, his attacks at 115, and it's going to be an Indominate nature, which is very scary. Also, special attack is 50. We're not really worried about that. Defense is 80, and his special defense is 90. So we want to hit this in the physical standpoint. So as you can see the differences between special defense and defense, you want to be able to knock it down aggressively defensively. So we're going to show you guys the rest of the remedies. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what this man can learn. However, though, it's kind of scary, kind of terrifying, because it has the ability Defiant, which I can see. Focus Energy is very scary. It can land critical hits, and I'm really terrified if it has that. If it has Leer to lower defenses, that can be a little bit of an issue too as well. Knock off to take off, our held items, but realistically, we don't really have to worry about that because that doesn't really matter in raids. If it has Screech, that can be very concerning. I can see it having close combat, especially because if it wants to raise up his actual, Defiant ability. But if it does have close combat and we skill swap it, that's even better in our standpoint because he will be lowering his defense, and I can see it honestly having close combat. So if he wants to just nuke us with a bunch of hits so he can get that, Defiant boost, unfortunately, he's going to be very fragile defensively, and if we can execute that and annihilate that and eliminate that, all those defensive, drops are going to be really crucial with these builds that I have for you guys. So stay tuned. Also, it has the ability to learn Shadow Punch for, ghost types, which is very concerning. So you don't want to have a ghost type for this raid. Depending on how you want to situate the raids, sometimes you might be able to utilize it, but you don't really want to have that because these are moves that are learned on evolution, which Shadow Punch is very physical. With Focus Energies, it can really do crack a lot of damage. It also has a lot of moves access from learned TMs that can have Break Breaks, which can be very scary if you want to be respectfully defensively, like setting up Light Screens Reflex. Honestly, that can be very freaking annoying because it can automatically destroy our defensive side, which I could see it most likely possibly having, which can honestly kind of suck. However, though, I don't think it might really realistically have that, but if it does, it's something that you have to be optimistic about. It has the ability Power Punch too as well. Every time you use a punch, it's going to activate its ability from that moveset, and it's going to give it more additional power to these boost attacks, which can be very, very scary. It's a very physical bomb, FYI. It can have Stealth Rock, but maybe it can have something different. We know what we have. So when it comes to 6-star raids, we already know what it has, though. Like, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Rage Fist. We're expecting these things. And most respectfully, we might even expect these things again. But, however, though, Cerebi does some crazy things sometimes, so we don't know what it might potentially have because it can always, be something different. It might even utilize so many different assets because this thing has so many depth into depth when it comes to move stat abilities, so you have no idea. Also, has moves like Shadow Claw, Thunderbolt, Earthquake. I could see it having Earthquake, which can be very, really concerning, especially if you want to go in there with fire types, which can be very scary. And also Earthquakes in general can be very terrifying, but I most likely could possibly see it have Earthquake for sure. U-turn, curse, substitute. It also can learn up to focus blast, which can be very scary and very demeaning. Also torment, seed bomb, which honestly could play out in our favor if it does have seed bomb, because it could definitely help us out, and I'll show you exactly why I would say that. Also vacuum wave, but realistically, if you guys want to know exactly what it most likely will have, I'm thinking about most likely it's probably going to have either knockoff, you know, Rage Fist, Screech, Close Combat, Dynamic Punch, and most likely Bulk Up for some setup moves, and most likely Shadow Pumps for some coverages, guys. So, if you guys did not know, these raids are going to be hosting from August 7th through the September 3rd. So, we are currently in the second week of August, and the new raids are going to be dropping this week. Is going to be the Annihilate raids. We were able to help you guys, guide you guys with the best victory consensual raids, which are absolutely essentially awesome. So, I want to help you guys the best way possibly can. There's no way that you cannot beat this raid because we got you guys in good hands. Then the week following that, we're going to give you guys some coverages on some Farigga reps and some King Gambits. So let's lock and load, guys. So first things foremost, I want to give you guys the absolutely best raid builds, which are going to be absolutely goated. So I want to show you guys exactly what we're going to do to beat the Annihilate. You got to become the Annihilate, baby. Realistically, held item Shell Bell with the Terror typing, fighting, and Ghosts. You know, and Terror typing have to be Ghost. For this specific realistic raid, we have to make sure we taunt it. We definitely want the ability Defiant. This is going to come down to a team asset raid. The only way this is going to work if you have supporters around you, so you can actually make sure this raid is. You can't go in there with realistically 4 Annihilates, because it's going to be hitting you with the same moveset. However, though, I like this build, I respect this build, and I really like this build. Focus energy is pretty much to raise up your critical hits. If you can taunt it, if you can stop it from doing, you know, Rage Fist, and if you can honestly pay attention to the taunts only last 3 turns. If you can continuously crucialize that, you know, focus energy, then taunt, then you have an opportunity to bulk up, Rage Fist, pay attention to taunt, and just keep Rage Fisting. You will automatically win this raid by a downslide and a landslide, which is really important. I think the best build for this raid is going to be for Farigga Wrath. Absolutely goated, absolutely demolishing, and I think it's probably one of the most bulkiest Pokemon ever. VGC competitively, I think it's absolutely substantially awesome, and I think honestly, as long as you have a Farigga Wrath, I think you're going to be absolutely chef's kiss on this raid. Terror typing, you want to have Dark. Its original typing is normal Psychic, but you want to change this completely typing into a Dark type. Held item Shell Bell, when this is exactly the moveset. You want to have it max attack, max defense, 26 into to attack, 26 into defense, and the ability Iron Tail is going to come absolutely clutch for this. The Mysterious Tail covers his Pokemon heads and makes the opponents unable to use priority moves, like, you know, against the Pokemon's use alley. So if it has priority moves, you know, like Sucker Punches and stuff like that, you block that, you know, and it has a lot of coverages move, which has priority moves. So if it hits us with those type of moves, you cannot hit us with that. So Armor Tail is going to be absolutely crucial and absolutely goated for this raid. These are the movesets that I wanted you to guys have, because unfortunately for Farigga Wrath's a little bit slower. Annihilape's way much more faster, so you want to set up a trick room. This user creates a barrier which lowers the which lowers Pokemon and gives them moves first 5 turns. So all of us in here are going to be pretty much respectfully running Farigga Wraths, right? Which are going to be super crunchful. Also another thing I want to throw out there too as well. As long as you skill swap something, it can be really crucial. So Farigga Wrath can learn skill swap. So if you can go in there with 4 Farigga Wraths, you're goated. Because what it does, one Farigga Wrath's going to skill swap, take its ability. So now you're going to have to fight, which is going to be absolutely sick. The other ones are going to be pretty much just reflecting and crunching. Crunching is very important here, because once we take out his ability and it doesn't have that, now we're going to be able to not worry about his attack boost and anything like that. We're going to be able to crunch this guy to death. The user crunches up the targets with sharp fangs. This also lower the target's defense, which is absolutely goated and absolutely substantial for this raid, because we want to lower his defense as much as possible. And as I let you guys know earlier in the video, his defense is very fragile compared to his special defense. So we really want to attack it on the aggressiveness, on physicalityness, and you want to make sure this has an Annihilape nature, max attack, max defense with an Annihilape nature. And then for the Annihilate, we want to have the same thing with, you know, max attack, you know, which is going to be really crucial here. Max attack, max speed with an Annihilape nature too as well. Also, another mod I want to throw out there too as well is going to be Malamar. Held item Shell Bell, an item to be held by Pokemon to help to restore the user's HP every time it inflicts damage and takes damage, which is really crucial in this raid. So we want to have the same moveset, max attack, max defense. The ability is going to be contrary right here, which is really going to be super goated. If you could have the Farigiraf skill swap and have the Defiant, your ability is actually going to play out really, really good. Reverses any stat changes affecting the Pokemon, so attempts to boost its stats, then lower them. So if it has like Screech or something like that, realistically, right? If it can most likely have from an Annihilape. Also, the accuracies of Screeches are very irrelevant, but however, though, they can be relevant because the accuracy is about 45 to 50. So if it's not 100%, it's not accurate. However, though, we got to be very concerned for that type of situation. And if it hits us and lowers our stats, well, guess what? We're going to be getting a boost by them, actually, and getting more of defensive boosts too as well, which is very important here. Max attack, max defense within a dominate nature. And this is pretty much a sound set moveset. Reflect skill swap. Our goal is to take his ability out and pretty much set up Reflect so we can build a barrier around us so we can be able to be defensively and be able to be so defensively goated so we don't have to worry about much. Also, movesets that I want to throw out there is Night Slash. This is very important, especially if you're going with Farigirafs and you're literally going with one Farigiraf and you can pull in a Malamar too as well. That is so fucking sick because you're lowering the defenses from the Farigiraf, and also the Malamars have Night Slash. It's a physical freaking move, which is absolutely goated, and the reason why this move is so goated, it has a slashing target instantly, opportunity arises. This move has a heightened chance of landing a critical hit, has a 35% chance of landing a critical hit, so you're gonna have defensive drops, and then using this Mon right next to it, like literally Goku and Vegeta right next to it, you're gonna have a Malamar doing some much needed Night Slash damage, which can land a critical hit. So once you're under Dark Terra typing and Dark Terra typing Malamar, you're gonna be absolutely goating this raid out. Also, I want to throw in Throat Chop because this attack is also a physical move and also can absolutely be super goated for this raid too as well. The user attacks the throat and suffering prevents the target from using sound-based moves. So that sound-based moves, which has a lot to its arsenal, we pretty much prevent that, which can be super crucial with Throat Chop because it eliminates it for 2 turns respectfully. So honestly, I think Annihilape is really crucial here and really respected here, and I think it's going to be one of the best Pokemon. Now we're going to go to supporter Pokemon. Clefairy. I think Clefairy is probably by far the best supporting Pokemon in here, and I want to sit here and tell you why. The held item is going to be Eviolite, an item to be held by a Pokemon. The mysterious evolutionary lumps boosts the defense and special defense stats when the Pokemon that can still evolve, which is really crucial here for the standpoint. So what we're going to do here is max HP, max defense with a bold nature because we're going against a physical attacker, guys. So you got to understand that we are going against something very physical. So of course we want to have that bulk up into defense, 26 in HP and 26 into defense. And the realistically why this Pokemon's going to be so goated, once we get the skill swap for Malamar and we get a Reflect, well, guess what? The ability right here, Frengar, is going to be so goated. Its ability is so sick that it's so goated, it's so busted, that it reduces damage dealt to allies. What does that mean? So if you have a Farigiraf and Malamar in there, and another Farigiraf, and an actual Clefairy, well, guess what? All of those Pokemon are taking more hits. Rage Fists are going to do way much more less damage, and it's going to be so crucial here because this ability is going to help us survive us throughout the whole raid because it gives us an extra defensive boost. So imagine setting up a Reflect and having Friend Guard as an ability activate instantly when the raid happens. You're going to have 2 Reflects pretty much essentially going out there, which is going to give you a better defensive bulk to cruising this raid. Also, Helping Hand here is very important. So if you want to give a Helping Hand to the Farigiraf, the Malamars, which can be really crucial here so we can start learning some more critical hits, hopefully getting some defensive, drops, and we can, can essentially just goatedly, help provide these Farigirafs and Malamars to victory, which can be really easy. Life Dew here is very important here too as well. Just if we see ourselves, in some type in the raid, dealing a lot of damage excessively to us, we have Life Dew here to heal us. And I love Life Dew here because this is very important here. If you guys did not know, it pretty much scatters mysterious water. It restores half of its HP to allies around all of their allies. So you're pretty much giving every single Pokemon, including yourself, some HP, some free HP. So this is going to come in super clutch. Another Pokemon I want to throw out there too as well, defensively, with the held item Light Clay, is going to be Grimmsnarl. The Terra typing has to be Dark, so I repeat, make sure the typing is going to be a Dark type Terra on this. And what does Light Clay do? An item to be held used by a Pokemon when its holder protects his moves like Light Screens, Reflects, which usually lasts longer. So Reflects usually land about 3 to 4 turns. This will land about 7 to 8 turns. So having that Reflect up there for longer is very crucial here. So these are the movesets right here, what we want to have. Max HP, max defense with a bold nature. Ability Prankster is goated because it gives priority to Pokemon status moves. So we're gonna always be going first. The ability for Prankster is pretty much essentially how it activates is that no matter how slow we are, no matter how fast we are, Prankster is always going to go first. So right off the rip, you want to throw a Reflect out there, you want to throw a Light Screen out there, and if you run it respectfully, want to start doing some much needed damage, you can, like some physical damage, you can actually make it learn the move Bite over Spirit Break, which I absolutely think is probably going to be the better option for us respectfully, because we're going in there with physical attacking, damaging opponents, and especially for those crunches that are going to be defense, Bite is going to be doing good. You're going to be in there for support, you're only going there for support, but however though, you can make sure that you make it, you know, to a point where you can contribute a little bit and actually, you know, utilize this Pokemon to actually doing some moves. You could definitely make sure that you use Bite, and also makes the target flinch. So imagine you get a flinch in a raid, right? It's a free turn where you don't even get hit. A Pokemon trying to hit you because you managed to get, you know, an opportunity to be defensively coveraging that, which is really freaking respected here. Now, another Pokemon move that I would highly recommend, once his abilities and all are out there too, as well as Chilling Water. So once we take out his ability, you want to make sure that his attack is set really low, and this is pretty much probably a raid that's going to be super goated, and a build that I think I highly recommend that is going to be super goated. Another Pokemon that I want to throw out there is Skelrager. Hear me out though, if you can support this Pokemon around it, I think it's really goated. Because remember, it can learn Earthquake, and it can be very, very scary. For this move set, you want to have Shadow Ball, Torch Song, Mud Slap, and Will-Ops. If we can skill swap it and we can Mud Slap it, we're pretty much lowering his accuracy so we don't get hit. We're not taking any damage whatsoever. Your stats on here, you want to max it out with max special attack with defense, so ignore the special defense. You want to have it max special attack and max defense with a modest nature. You want to build up a couple Torch Songs, and then you want to Will-Ops it. The importance here is Will-Ops and getting a burn. So it being a physical attacker, you're pretty much, you know, slicing a pear in half, slicing a pizza in half. You're pretty much cutting like its actual, you know, full structure of the actual essential item, right? So you're pretty much, what this thing does is pretty much reduces the attack of an actual Pokemon. So if you have a physical Pokemon and you Will-Ops it, you're not only taking Chip, Damn, Burn, which is really crucial in race, it will be burning to death, and it will literally be taking fire chip damage each turn. And not only including that, you're pretty much lowering half of the attack, so it can have like about 6+ bulk ups, right? But you're looking at around 2 to 3 bulk ups, because it clearly eliminates that, and you're pretty much going to be tickled in this rate. So I think this is very, very important here. Having these builds here and having the understanding of having these builds are very important, but I feel very freaking confident that for Rigorath, Annihilape, and Malamar are going to do great. As long as you can skill swap, and I'll repeat, skill swap is going to be good. Also, Terra Blast is very important here too as well, which I really like here, because the user terrorizes and unleashes its energy to Terra typing. This move inflicts damage using the attack or special attack, whichever the higher attack user or special attack user of the actual opposing Terra typing, which is absolutely goated. And the base power is 80, which is great. And also 80 plus 80 power is really good, which is crunch. So if you're running out of crunches, you can go and start utilizing Terra Blasts, and this is what's going to be absolutely goated. Remember to throw in Trick Room. Trick Room is very important here because you want to be able to have your teammates go faster, especially because Clefairy is very slow. And you can start using Life Dews and Helping Hands as a priority move, which is super fast and super goated. And a lot of these Pokemon are here is to take bulk and to do aggressively amount of damage. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. You guys have no idea. Make sure you guys check out my YouTube. I'll show you guys exactly what my YouTube is. Our recent last video, we showed a video of us actually goatedly, you know, show you guys some Master Rank VGC competitive, you guys. So if you guys can do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We're on our way to 100 subscribers, so I appreciate you guys more than you guys know. Our Twitch is absolutely goated and absolutely valuable. If you guys want to see how we're doing on Twitch, we actually just streamed today, which was absolutely goated, and I love everything about Twitch. This is where I usually come to, and this is where I find my happiness, peace, and love. So we recently just streamed today, and we did great. We're at 3,700 followers on Twitch. We're on our way to 4 freaking grand, baby. 4 freaking K on freaking subscribers, baby. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for the coverage video. I appreciate you guys.